and why should you watch this channel? Let's explore that. Let's start with the who. Who am I? My name is Steve Cullen, and I come from, well, Australia originally. I was only born there really, so can't really call me an Australian. I've been here for 55 years. Now I'm 57 now, so I was only 2 when my parents brought me over here, so can't really class myself as Australian. I class myself as a New Zealander. So as for photography, well, I've been interested in photography for a long time, but not really seriously until the last probably 15-20 years, when like I'd always had like a film camera, like a little point and shoot, so nothing really special in terms of photographic equipment, and always sort of taking snapshots, taking shots of my wife and I, where we've been, things like that. But wasn't until we were out at Kaikoura and we were looking at the seals out on the point there, and we couldn't really capture the seals from where we were, and the camera we had was just like a little point and shoot. I think it was like like 28 to 50 zoom or something rather like that. We couldn't really get very close to them, so that's what started me into the journey of looking into something better to capture further away objects, you know, like a zoom lens, a proper zoom lens. And so I ended up buying a Nikon camera. It was a film camera, and with I think it was 28 to 70 zoom on it, and from there went to like I think it was a 70 to 300, just a standard sort of kit lens type zoom, nothing really special, but we're able to zoom in on far away objects that we couldn't get really close to. So that was really good. That started me off on the journey of getting into a proper camera. So from there, yeah, we'd had a couple of different Nikon cameras, a few different types of lenses, until the age of digital. And that's when things really sort of started to take off a bit more in terms of being a bit more serious, really. So we'll talk about the digital era very, very shortly. I'm heading out to Godley Head at the moment, so I just stopped in to give you a little bit more info and shot of the harbour. We'll carry on to Godley Head, and I'll see you there. So the digital age for me started in about 2005 with the purchase of a Nikon D70S. That was only like 6 megapixel camera, 18 to 70 zoom, pretty basic nowadays, but still took good images. I'll share a few photos from when I first got that camera, show them on screen, and see what you think. This is an interesting building. This is where they had machines in here. Machine room, engine room. Generated its own power supply. Built 1939. These are all built for World War II. When they were protecting Christchurch, Littleton from the enemy, and they'll keep an eye out over the harbour. There's other buildings up on the hill up there, and they were lookouts for the Germans or Japanese or whoever wanted to invade New Zealand. There would have been places like this all around New Zealand, I would imagine. Keep an eye out over the cities, making sure we didn't get invaded, but we never did. But interesting having a look out here at Godley Head. I basically taught myself photography. I did about, it would have been early 2000s when I had a film camera. I did a course at, I was over Riccarton Way, but it was still interesting course to go on. It just reconfirmed what I knew anyway. After I got that Nikon D70S, I went on to a Nikon D300S, and that was 12 megapixels, so that was a bit of a bump in resolution, twice as many megapixels as the previous camera, and that was more of a semi-pro type camera. It was a bit more rugged and a few more manual controls on it, and I took some good images with that camera. I really liked that camera. I'm sort of regretting selling it now, but never mind, things happen, you move on. And put some images on screen of that from that camera as well. And so you can see how my photography has evolved as well. Not just the resolution of cameras, but also images I've taken, different compositions, learning about composition, leading lines, etc., etc., rule of thirds, yada yada yada, all those things that you just take for granted now. You just do them as a matter of course, really. Yeah, so it's Labour Day here, so I've got the day off, so I thought I'd make most of it while the weather's calm, fine, and get another video up. So by the time you're watching this, it'll be 1 week past Labour Day. Nice and calm out here, hardly any wind compared to the last video where it was really windy up the Port Hills. Now we're going to head down to this gun emplacement down here, so I shall meet you down there. So arrived at the gun emplacement here, and spin around, you can have a look. So it's a battery observation post, not gun emplacement. They may have had guns in there at some stage, who knows. But you can get up on top, and have a good look out. As you can see, the soldiers would have had a good view out to sea. So anything coming in the harbour, they would have seen it. Let's go down here, into here, into the observation post, and have a look from in here. As you can see, pretty cool. But then I decided to go full frame because D300 was a crop sensor camera, and I decided to go full frame and buy a D600 full frame camera. And I enjoyed it, but it was just getting too heavy after a few years with the big lenses on it. And because I had a 16 to 35, I can't remember the other lens I had on it, just way too big. So I went completely the opposite direction and traded all my Nikon gear in for Olympus camera, and that was micro 4/3 sensor, which was quite a bit smaller than the Nikon. It was like a quarter of the size of the sensor of the D600. So having the Olympus camera, micro 4/3, a lot smaller, but still decent image quality. It was a lot lighter as well. And that was Olympus OMD EM1. Had a 16 megapixel sensor in it. And that started, I think that's really when I started to get into a little bit of video. That would have been like 5 years ago. I started looking at different models, and Fuji sort of took my, and I know they got good colours. They because of all their film simulations over the years, the film stocks like Acros for black and white, Velvia for really rich colours for landscape, Provia, etc, etc. It sort of took my interest, and I dived into the world of Fuji, and I love it. I've had the XT2, and I also bought a XT1 for a while as a second body. So now I bought a Fuji X-H1, which has in-body image stabilization, and that is really good. Handheld video and stills works really well. And yeah, I love the colors that come out of it straight out of camera. If I want to process it more, I always shoot JPEG and RAW, and I can alter the RAW photos to suit my taste. But now I've still got the Fuji for my stills, and I shoot video on Sony A6400. That's a crop sensor camera from Sony, and I find it really good. The video is really good, nice and sharp. The autofocus is exceptional. The Fuji system, especially in the X-H1, I don't find that the autofocus is reliable enough for video work. Otherwise I would have used Fuji. So yeah, that's my bit of history behind my journey in photography. Yeah, like I say, throughout this video you would have seen some photos that I've taken over the years on different cameras. I'll put on screen what cameras they are, and yeah, I hope you liked the video, and at least you know a little bit more about me and my photographic journey to this point anyway. And I'm still learning, still evolving, still learning new things. I don't always get everything 100% correct at the time, but hey, I learn from my mistakes, and yeah, it's fun. It gets you out and about in nature. It's like today there, it's a nice day. There's a little bit of a breeze up here, but like last week's video, yeah, it was so windy up here. But yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you liked the video, and we'll see you on the next one.